In the lower bracket, we now have a handful of competitors who are still battling it out for the final 2 spots. We'll get the chance to see every single best of 3 to find out who will be advancing to the final day of the Mythic Invitational. 2 renowned players will be competing right now. The first from Italy, let's welcome Andrea Mengucci. The 2015 World Cup Magic champion, playing Esper Control and Mono White, the same deck list as his opponent. And his opponent is the current reigning Magic the Gathering Player of the Year. Let's welcome from Argentina, Luis Salvatto. Yes, even getting applause from Andrea. Yeah. 2 extraordinary talented players will be battling it out now with the exact same set of deck lists. Gentlemen, good luck. Have fun. Commentators, over to you.
Thank you, Day9. Appreciate the intros. As always, we've got our 2 competitors sitting down across from each other. Now, besides their history, just kind of as friends and competitors, they've got a competitive history within the course of this tournament, don't they, David?
Yeah, yesterday they went to 3 games, both at 2-0 in Group B to see who advanced to the top 16. Mengucci was victorious there, but he, as we see, Luis was able to do it in the lower bracket and join him. Now they fight again, but this time the winner doesn't get to automatically go on. They're going to have to fight again against Nassif.
Now, what about the loser? What do they automatically get to do?
They get to enjoy the show.
Yeah,
they get
to hang out at PAX for the rest
yeah.
of the weekend and have to settle for that solid top 16 finish here. We started off with 64 players. That was back on Thursday. Over the course of the previous 2 days, we narrowed down the field. We turned 16 into 4. We did that 4 times for the 16 players that we have today, but we've eliminated a lot of those as well. There's only a few left in the field with 2 seats currently taken in our top 4.
So we're going to show you Mengucci's Esper Control. The same, pretty much same list we've seen all day. Most of the top players came to this configuration. A few tweaks here and there, but not much different. Same sideboard for the 1 Masterminds acquisition. Different suite of cards to solve kind of any problem you could come up with. Yeah. And then here's his white aggro deck, same thing. He's running 20 land. We've seen 19 in a lot of them. Not too big of a difference. A lot of 4-ofs, no individual 1-offs, nothing we haven't seen before.
That kind of Rustwing Falcon, it looks like. What about for Salvatto? He's got a very similar mono white aggro list in his hands here, just a card different.
1 card different. Instead of the 3rd Unbreakable formation, he has a Baffling in, which is
baffling indeed.
It's a little baffling why they came to a split, considering they work together, but Unbreakable Formation is a key card, but Baffling in is a nice, cheap removal spell that can get rid of like a Banalish Marshal, so it could come up. And again, his Esper Control deck, the main deck here is exactly the same. I didn't spot one difference at a glance over the list. The only difference I saw was what they could find with the Masterminds acquisition. There was 1 card different. Mengucci has an Ethereal Absolution, where Luis Salvatto has a Fungal Infection, but I don't think you'll see either of those players getting those 2 cards. So for all intents and purposes, this is an exact same mirror match.
That's right. Now, the way this works, for those of you just tuning in, by the way, take a look at the lifetime achievements of these players. Both of them started in the early 2000s, though it does look like Mengucci has played double the Mythic Championships that Salvatto has, so they both had a lot of success.
And about double the lifetime arena games.
He's just a worker.
Yeah.
Putting in overtime, yeah.
No, he really does. I've been paying attention to him on Twitter. He's been streaming a lot, talking about playing a lot of best of 1. Yeah, he really loves Magic. So.
Yeah, going back into the old school as well for Mengucci, he likes to play some of the older formats for Magic. Not even available on Arena, stuff like Legacy, where you've got the cards going all the way back to the 90s.
Look at this, 7 cards, all in the new card style.
Wow.
Nice looking hand.
Does that mean it's an auto keep, or?
Well, I think it is. You've got 2 lands, and you've got both your colors. You've got a basic land type, so your 2nd land will come into play untapped with no damage. Thought Erasure you can cast on 2, which is a huge card. If you were playing against Esper Control, it's still solid against this mono white deck, but this is a keeper. You've got 1 drop into 2 more 1-drops. You've got to dodge the Kai's Wrath. And what this also means is our next matchup will be the exact same matchup, but in reverse.
That's
so
right.
We're going to see 2 Esper against mono white aggros.
Yeah, these decks were assigned at random to our players here in game number 1. In game number 2, they're going to be playing the other deck that they brought, and then if there's a game 3, they get to choose which deck to play.
The other interesting thing is, because of the way this works out, both mono white aggro decks are going to be on the play. Which is really big.
Which is right where they want to be.
Right where they want to be.
Yeah, big advantage for them being on the play in matchups like this, where they can actually finish the game off before their opponent can really even get their feet under them and get their mana base going. And right now, boom, down to 18, and there's 5 power on the battlefield. It's turn 2. Nice draw, though, Moment of Craving. Though it looks like Salvatto wants to try to clear the way here, though. This might backfire a little bit on him here, because with Para-Venerated Loxodon, he's going to have to leave Mengucci with one in his hand.
Yeah, it's a little tough, though, for Mengucci. Like, you can play the Loxodon and pump your creature up, but you lose out on all that damage. And then if there is a Kaya's Wrath in 2 turns, you're going to lose all your creatures. But
no fear.
The damage he missed, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He missed 5 to gain 3 power, plus the 4 from the Loxodon. So there's something to say you could have tapped that Plains and left 1 creature open to get in 2 more damage instead of getting that 1 counter, because it does take 2 turns for you to make that damage up.
In the meantime, though, Mengucci's very much all in. If you're sitting in Andrea Mengucci's seat, you're just saying, I'm in. Here we go. I'm going to attack you with all these creatures. I'm going to hope to draw something.
You want to draw Unbreakable formation.
Yeah, then that would effectively lock it up. But the thing is that he's anticipating that Salvatto might have Kaya's Wrath. We know that Salvatto does not have that card in his hand right now, although this is interesting. We're going to see the minus ability here on Kaya Orzhov Usurper to take down one of these 1-drops.
Yeah, we don't see that often, but that's a really powerful ability against these decks with a lot of 1-drops. And then the other secondary part of it is now Mengucci has to decide, I have to attack that, or it's going to get to do it again to my Rustwing Falcon or Sky Marcher Aspirant. So it's going to soak up 2 more damage. So the Kaya actually saves a lot of damage and preserves Luis's life total.
That said, Legion's landing off the top of the library with the 4 planes means that it's going to transform right now, and Mengucci can start using it to make tokens. So not a bad draw step for Mengucci there. He does send the Rustwing Falcon over at Kaya to make sure that she gets sent packing. And this is a big moment here for Mengucci. He's thinking, if you have Kaya's Wrath, we've got a game on our hands, but if you don't, this thing's just about done.
Yeah, if you had Kaya's Wrath, at least you got Adonto the First for it pumping out tokens, but without it, your opponent's in trouble, because you know the best he can do is play 1 removal spell with 4 mana, unless you happen to have 2 mana ones. If he doesn't, get rid of the 4, and look, he's still taking 7 damage going to 4.
Yeah, so this is huge here, because the turns are starting to narrow very much here for Salvatto, though he has found himself finally in the position where he can cast multiple spells or a Teferi. He's going to go for Teferi, and that's going to let him cast Moment of Craving here, too.
The reason it's great is because it does untap 2 lands, which casts the Moment of Craving, which then gives him 2 life back. So he can Moment of Craving to Aspirant, go to 6, and he's only facing down 5 damage. And Teferi allows him to dig deeper to find a Kaya's Wrath, because that's what he needs.
Snubhorn Sentry is the draw step here for Mengucci. That's not going to help him this turn. He's going to send in with the team. He'll get in for 5, lose the Sky Marcher Aspirant, but critically, Moment of Craving gaining 2 life for Salvatto will put him at 1.
The only problem I see here is even if he does find the Kaya's Wrath, Adonto the First for it just makes a 1/1 that gets to attack for the win. So
just lethal threat.
He's going to need more than Kaya's Wrath. Although with Teferi out, he can untap 2 lands, cast the Mortify, but that only deals with the first token. What about the ones from the future turns?
That's right. And this is all assuming quite a bit here about the draw step here for Salvatto. And what does he find? Chemister's Insight. That's not it. He's going to plus Teferi. Can he find the sweeper to give him even a chance to win this game? No, it's Hollowed Fountain off the top of the library, and facing down virtually 6 lethal threats. He is going to have no option other to concede this game. Andrea Mengucci with the gutsy early play of saying, I'm just going to ignore the chance that you have a Kaya's Wrath, run out my Venerated Loxodon, and get you dead as quickly as possible. It looks like it's going to pay off, and look, he looks nervous.
Yeah, I don't see any way out. Even if he casts, I guess he's going to, nope, he can't even absorb his own spell. As I say, he could maybe Chemister's Insight and get 2 land untapping from the Teferi trigger, but there's nothing he could draw that would gain him life and allow him to deal with all these blocks.
Even if Mengucci gave him a chance to cast Absorb on something, it still would be presenting lethal here. So in comes the team, and that's the concession. Andrea Mengucci wins game number 1 and puts himself 1 game away from the top 4. He looks nervous, I'm not going to lie. He was looking at that screen. Normally, if you're used to watching Mengucci, he's a pretty happy guy. He's smiling. He's making some comments here or there, but no, it's all business time now.
Yeah, now Luis Salvatto's hoping it's his turn to do that with the white deck and even it all up.
I mean, that would be fair, right?
You would think. I mean, it's pretty unfair to lose one way and then flip it and lose that side, too. You think if that happens, he has to give his Player of the Year title to Mengucci? It's yours now.
They're not playing for quite that much here, no. He already had to earn that one from Seth Manfield earlier in our pro season last year, but
this reminds me, you play testing and you're winning a lot matchup A, and you like tell your playtest partner, all right, let's switch the matchup. And then you're also winning that matchup. It's like, okay, all we've learned is I'm better than you.
Yes. It means that you picked a good playtest partner.
Oh, no. Salvatto on 6 and had to put a land on the bottom. Had to put a card on the bottom with only 1 land.
Mulligans to 6, bottoms it. And how does the hand look here for Mengucci? I see Kaya's Wrath in hand for him.
And he's got 2 thought erasures to, when you mulligan and then get your threats thought erasured, it hurts even more, and then he can follow it up with Kaya's Wrath and absorb.
Wow, things looking good early for Andrea Mengucci to find himself in the top 4, defeating his friend Luis Salvatto here, but we're not quite done yet. This is thought erasure to take away the next relevant play.
Yeah, the history generates 2 creatures and allows him to stop playing creatures from his hands, and with Kaya's Wrath in your hand, you want to incentivize your opponent to play more creatures, which he will.
Although that said, we did find a land off the top of the library here for Salvatto, so he gets to round out the Venerated Loxodon, adding an additional 6 power to the board.
Yeah, and Cry of the Carnarium is a solid play here, but it actually doesn't even really do anything other than get rid of the Sky Marcher Aspirant. So he's going to Thought Erasure, get rid of the card he knows about, leave his opponent on nothing, knowing that he can take this 8 damage, play a land that comes to play untapped if he doesn't draw 1 next turn, and cast Kai's Wrath and sweep up all the creatures.
So this is going to be a real nail-biter down the stretch. How about 8, make it 11?
Yeah, but that's unfortunate for Luis.
It's actually one of the worst draws, isn't it?
It does 3 more damage, but now he's going to have just no cards in hand after this Kai's Wrath. Ooh, and a land that comes into play untapped, he doesn't even have to take 2 damage for playing the Godless Shrine.
So this is where it all comes apart here for Salvatto, and he needs to find threats. That isn't the best one. He would have loved to see that last turn.
Yeah, if he switches those 2 draw steps, he's in a lot better shape right now.
Totally. So Legion's Landing is going to make a guy. Here is Tithe Taker off the top of the library, and that's going to get absorbed here to put Mengucci back up to 7 life and buffer that life total. He has Cry of the Carnarium as well.
Yeah, I actually might not have absorbed that because you have the 6 mana coming to play untapped. You can play Cry of the Carnarium, leaving absorb up. You get rid of both creatures. The Tithe Taker doesn't generate a 1/1.
Cry of the Carnarium, of course, exiles your creatures, so afterlife is not going to happen there. And this is the big play here. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria for Andrea Mengucci, all but seals this one up. It is going to be extraordinarily difficult for Luis Salvatto to win from this position. We have seen some amazing comebacks, so we're not going to give up on him quite just yet, but you know, this isn't mono red. He doesn't have the ability to rip something off the top that can do a whole bunch of damage to the face. He has to do it all through onboard creatures, and it's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, there's no shocks, no lightning strikes, skewer the critics. He's just going to have to do it 1 card at a time. I mean, we've seen some big comebacks from the white decks, but it's not against decks that are generating card advantage like this Esper Control deck. It's been against like red decks, red-green decks. But against the Teferi, now a Search for Escanta, cards like Chemister's Insight, Mengucci's just going to keep burying him in card advantage and answering his cards. He can answer them 1 for 1, and unfortunately, Luis won't be able to keep up.
He can't get the City's Blessing going for that Snubhorn Sentry, so he's going to have to settle for just attacking for 1 and then playing the Venerated Loxodon post-combat here. That's probably going to get absorbed as well to put Mengucci back up to 7 life. There it goes.
Yeah, if I'm Mengucci, I wish one of those Cry of the Carnariums wasn't absorbed, which he had the option to have.
But that was enough cards in Graveyard there to transform Search for Escanta, so Escanta the Sunken Ruin is going to appear for Mengucci, and this is where the value train leaves the station. He's got the Teferi, it's ticking upwards. Salvatto's chosen to ignore Teferi on the board in favor of attacking his life total, but you can see the head shake there from Salvatto. He knows that this one is all but in the books. A Sky Marcher Aspirant, another bad draw for him. It looks like it's good because it's a threat, right? But the problem is it really turns on those Cry of the Carnariums here for Mengucci.
Yeah, he's just walking right into it. And notice Salvatto attacked the Teferi because it is getting close to ultimate.
Yep.
So
he had to take his foot off the gas there, didn't he, David?
Ouch, and your opponent just showed you a Kai's Wrath.
And that's going to do it. Andrea Mengucci is on to the top 4. 2 quick games against Salvatto, and great sportsmanship there between the 2 friends, a hug, and you know that either of them would have said, hey, great games, good luck in the top 4 no matter how that went, but it was, in fact, Andrea Mengucci who ended up getting the job done there. Welcome back to coverage here of the Mythic Invitational, powered by Owned by HP. I'm Marshall Suckup, that's David Williams, and that's another seat taken here. This time, the Italian, Andrea Mengucci from the MPL, fills out that seat.
No, he's still got to play Gabriel Nassif.
Wow.
He's not in there yet.
Thank you, David.
He's not in there yet.
I totally forgot. He was playing for the chance to play against Nassif, so this is actually just another opportunity for him to win. So the real storyline here is that Salvatto out.
Yeah, Salvatto's out, and now the two friends are like, okay, you took me out.
You better win.
You better win.
That's what you would say, right?
Yeah, you better go on. If I'm not making it, don't take me out and dog it.
That's right.
Get in there and win. So.
Yeah, so earlier we had a chance to watch Yellow Hat, right? Gabriel Nassif get himself to the point of being like, come on, one more match to go, and that's going to be against Mengucci. And boy, that's a tough customer coming up. That's an MPLer against a Hall of Famer to fill out that last seat. Thanks for that correction, by the
I'm
way.
excited for that match, so don't forget about it.
Apparently so was I, yeah.
Because no matter what, Nassif has two control decks.
Yeah.
Mengucci has one control deck, one white aggro deck. We're going to see the white aggro deck, but we get to see the control matchup mirror with these two players of this caliber. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's really, really tough stuff because super skill intensive when you get into those little nuances and stuff like that. But for now, we've got Andrea Mengucci with Becca Scott.